Part 23. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 222. Lu Qingyuan and Jin Li consciously did not talk about any private topics, and of course they did not deliberately avoid others. And the staff member was passing by, just didn't hear the front or the back, and heard this sentence. He pretended that nothing happened, calmly walked past the two of them, turned to the rest area, and walked to the studio behind. Then, jumped up. "Mom." Lu Qingyu and Jin Li said to take her to see her mother. "That's not it?" Legendary. See parents. Unexpectedly, the two of them can't see it at ordinary times, and they didn't see it just now, but the two of them have developed to the point of seeing their parents. Really, shocking news. The staff suppressed their excitement. "It's really uncomfortable to hold such a big secret in my heart." He thought about it and sent a message to an old friend of his. "Are you there? Shit, I have to share with you a big secret I just heard." This old friend is not in the circle. On weekdays, the staff often chats with him about some gossip in the circle. His tone is still tight, and he has never done anything to sell news to the media. "What's up? Kinlai, you know? Isn't she your goddess? Today Lu Qingyuan came to our crew to visit the class. I heard Lu Qingyuan and Jin Li say with my own ears that they want to take her to see her parents. These two don't even know what's going on together." Lu Qingyuan thief. Steal my goddess. But are you sure about your news? Don't say it's wrong, right? The staff is very sure. Impossible, I heard it with my own ears in addition to meeting the parents. Under what circumstances do you think a man would deliberately take a girl back to see the parents? Yes. Damn it, I'm going to spray him under Lu Qingyuan's Weibo. The hatred for taking a wife is unbearable. The staff was a little worried. This matter has not been exposed. Don't say it on Weibo. Don't worry, don't you believe me? The chat ends here. The staff are quite trustworthy in the character of their friends. After satisfying the urge to gossip, they put away their mobile phones and started working. But the development of the subsequent events completely exceeded his expectations. When today's scene ended, Jin Li was stopped by Wen Jiming. "Jin Li, look at the gossip news." "What?" Jin Li took out her phone and skillfully opened a certain gossip page. Shock. Lu Qingyuan and Jin Li were secretly together. Lu Qing went to Qianan Suite to visit the class far away. According to people familiar with the matter, the two sides have already agreed on a date to meet their parents. Jin Li? When I clicked on the content, what was said in it was clear-cut, and it was accompanied by a few pictures of the two of them taking pictures together when they were in the thrilling uninhabited island. It looks kind of like that. If you don't know the truth, it's really easy to be fooled. Don't tell the fans who don't know the truth. Even Wen Jiming, a semi-informed person who knew that Lu Qingyuan came to Qianan because of filming an MV rather than a special trip to visit Jin Li, couldn't help but gossip. "Jin Li, on this one, is that true? Did you two really discuss seeing your parents?" Jin Li glared at him angrily. "What do you think? Am I the kind of person who needs to be secretive when it comes to love? She's not one of these secretive humans. If Fairy Jin Li really likes someone, she must let the whole world know who this lucky person is. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess." Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 223. Wen Jiming thought for a while. That's right, if you are with Lu Qingyuan, it seems necessary to hide anything. Jin Li said, "Right, I don't know which guy spread the rumor. Wait a minute. Not right. If it's just a simple rumor, it's enough to say that Lu Qingyuan came to visit the class. Why do you mention the two people meeting their parents?" Jin Li thought about it carefully. "I am afraid that someone has heard the conversation between him and Lu Qingyuan before." Yes. He made an appointment for his mother. Lu Qingyuan didn't avoid people when talking to himself, but he didn't say it in front of everyone. Maybe someone just overheard it? This person can only be a member of the crew. And the people who spread this kind of topic could only be the people from the crew. Jin Lee was still thinking when Lu Qingyuan's call came. He had a busy schedule. Today, he took a look at Jin Lee and chatted for a while before going back to catch the plane back to the imperial capital. I just got off the plane and saw the news on the internet. I'm sorry, Jin Lee, I didn't expect to cause you so much trouble. Lu Qingyuan apologized directly. It's none of your business, you don't need to apologize. Jin Lee knew very well that Lu Qingyuan wasn't blamed for this, and she wasn't someone who would take anger out. The key is that she feels that there is nothing to be angry with about this kind of thing. Rumors. Clarification is not enough. Lu Qingyuan said quickly, I will clarify this matter. Jin Lee nodded, okay, I will also make a statement to clarify. Lu Qingyuan just hung up the phone, and before he could post on Weibo to refute the rumor, another call came in. Got it? His uncle. Lu Qingyuan thought about his uncle's high-profile announcement that Jin Lee was his idol, as if he had lost his mind, and felt a little chill on his back. Intuition told him that it was best not to answer the call. But if this call is not answered, it will be more troublesome later. Lu Qingyuan hesitated for a second, but chose to connect. Hello, uncle. On the opposite side came Lu Zhenji's calm voice, get off the plane, go back to the old house and have a light meal. Lu Qingyuan said something before he hung up the phone, uncle, the rumors on the internet are false. Lu Zhenji said coldly, I know it's fake. After he finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Lu Zhenji, who is always watching the movements of his idols, if Jin Lee is really in love, how could he not notice it at all? But even if you know the rumors on the internet are false, he is still pissed. I'm so pissed. Lu Qingyuan was able to see her, chat with her so happily, and have scandals spread. Fairy Jin Lee will never do anything wrong, so it must be Lu Qingyuan's fault. Lu Zhenji can be said to have won the essence of the unreasonableness of the boss's predecessors. Here, Lu Qingyuan, who was hung up by his uncle, deeply felt that today's dinner might not be so delicious. He got into his driver's car and started calling without saying a word. Mom, do I remember that you recently returned to China? You said the day before yesterday that you were in the imperial capital? Just in time, let's go back to the old house for dinner together at night. Don't come? No. He said very tiredly, I offended my uncle because of your painting. If you don't come to dinner and explain it to me, I'll tell Jin Lee that the painting appointment will be cancelled. The woman opposite is yelling at the unfilial son. Lu Qingyuan didn't care, and resumed his gentle tone, Mom, no matter what, our family should face it neatly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiao Zheji. Chapter 224. Before returning to the Lu family's mansion, Lu Qingyuan first updated a message on Weibo. Lu Qingyuan v, it is true to visit the class, in the name of a friend. At Jin Pair is a Koi Acridine. Jin Lee's response was also very fast. Jin Lee is a Koi Acridine v, the little fairy is still a single little fairy today. The two responded very tacitly, which satisfied the netizens who paid attention to the matter. I just like this kind of straightforward style, yes, no, I still love the little fairy today. Ha ha ha, as expected, based on what I know about my honest pair, if she is really in love, how could she hide it? Staring at the lid of the pot and saying, as early as when I was watching the thrilling Uninhabited Island, I had a crush on Lu Shen and Jin Lee's CP. It would be fine if the two were really lovers. Upstairs at 1, Lu Shen and Jin Lee are also very compatible. Hee hee, I am really annoying Jinli, Suhexiang, Lu Jinja, and now Lu Shen again. What's the matter? Does the entire entertainment industry have to be rubbed by you for a round of popularity before it stops? Upstairs Lemon Essence, can you shut up? Lu Shen and Jin Li have a good relationship enough to visit the class. Does my Jin Li still need to be popular? Both of them only talked about their friendship in the news. In the chat records, they claim to have heard the two of you talking about meeting their parents. What was the situation? Blind student, you have discovered Huadian, which is also what I am puzzled by. At is Koi Acridine at Lu Qingyuan. Can you please explain? After Jin Li responded on Weibo, she recalled the location and content of her previous chat with Lu Qingyuan, replayed the scene in her mind, and found exactly the staff member who was passing by. The staff member also knew that something had happened to him at this moment, and he was spraying his friend. Seeing Jin Li coming to him, he looked ashamed and didn't quibble. I'm sorry, Jin Li, I leaked the conversation between you and Lu Shen. Jin Li was very unhappy. You should know that it's useless to say sorry for this kind of thing. You made two mistakes. The content of my chat with Lu Shen is considered privacy between us. You heard it and spread it out. This is the first mistake. You listen to the conversation between us, but you don't hear the previous story, you don't hear the ending, you just speculate on your own, spread false rumors, and slander our reputation. This is the second mistake. The staff is actually a fan of Jin Li. He knows that he did it wrong, even if at the beginning, he just shared a gossip with his friends, and he didn't have any malicious intentions. But the bad result is indeed caused, and the root cause is him. He solemnly apologized to Jin Li again. Jin Li, I'm sorry, I'm willing to apologize, and I'm willing to compensate for the loss. You can do whatever you want me to do. Jin Li shook her head. I don't lack your compensation. It's just that you should really understand where you are wrong and whether you will continue to make mistakes in the future. After saying this, Jin Li was about to leave, thinking about it and adding, I don't care about you this time, but if there is another time, I will make you pay the price. She stretched out a finger and pointed at herself. I'm super easy to mess with. Staff member. He was originally ashamed, but he almost laughed out loud because of Jin Li's last action. Jin Li stared at him inexplicably, turned around and left with a snort. The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Su Xiao Zhaji. Chapter 225. The staff thought about it for a long time. He received a phone call from a friend who kept apologizing, and finally proposed to resign with the original director. Now is the filming period, of course the original director has to ask the reason. The staff told the original director what happened this time because he didn't keep the door open. His tone was very sincere. Director Yuan, Jin Li had a chat with me, and I also carefully reflected on my character. Finally, I came to a conclusion. There was some pain and entanglement in his expression. I'm just a temperament that can't hide words and secrets. If I continue to stay in this circle and listen to some gossip that I can say and can't say every day, I can't hold back. Original director. You have a very clear understanding of yourself, don't you? The staff continued, I think Jin Li is right. I can't guarantee that I will continue to make mistakes in the future. Maybe a gossip I say casually one day will have a very bad influence on an artist. Original director. With all that said, what else could he say? In the end, the original director agreed to the staff's resignation application, but only asked the other party to wait until the current part of the scene was finished before leaving. The staff agreed. The original director asked about his future interruption by the way. The staff thought for a while and said with bright eyes, actually, I have always had a dream. Original director? The staff member said, I have always wanted to give it a try, relying on physical strength rather than talent to eat. The original director, so. Staff, after resigning, I decided to move bricks. Original guide. Yuan Dao felt that there were too many slots, but he felt that everyone's dreams should be respected. So he showed a Buddhist smile, just be happy. Imperial capital. The sky was slowly darkening. Lu Qingyuan transferred to pick up his own mother, Lu Jianzhen, and asked the driver to drive to the Lu family's old house. Lu Jianzhen had long curly red hair permed, strong eyebrows and beautiful eyes, and sunglasses on the bridge of his tall nose. At first glance, he gave his son a warm hug. This woman who has lived a free and unrestrained life all her life, even the years take extra care of her. Taking off his sunglasses, Lu Jianzhen didn't look like a woman with such an eldest son as Lu Qingyuan. She has the style of a 40-year-old woman, the beauty of a 30-year-old woman, and the radiance of a 20-year-old woman. Mom's Qingyuan baby, you mean? Jinli agreed to my invitation, Lu Jianzhen asked happily. Lu Qingyuan was already used to being called a baby at such an old age, and his expression did not change at all. He just smiled gently. Jinli said it's fine, but the uncle seems very unhappy. Your uncle? Why is he unhappy? Lu Jianzhen has been running around the world all the year round, and he hardly cares about gossip in the entertainment industry. Hearing this, he is a little puzzled. She knew that Lu Zhenjia liked the girl Jinli very much, but she wasn't so possessive as to be so outrageous, right? Lu Qingyuan sighed and told her about today's scandal. Lu Jianzhen raised his eyebrows in surprise, and looked at his son with great interest. Are you really going to visit the class? Tell mother, do you like Jinli? Without waiting for Lu Qingyuan to answer, she added, if you like her too, tell your mother that she supports you, so don't be afraid of your uncle. Lu Jianzhen is probably the only person in the entire Lu family who is not afraid of Lu Zhenjia, and even has a good relationship with Lu Zhenjia. The update is completed today. If you like it, remember to vote every day. Good night. The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Su Xiao Zheji. Chapter 226. Hearing the humming words, Lu Qingyuan glanced at her speechlessly. Don't talk nonsense about mother, it's not good for a girl's reputation to say such a thing. What's wrong? Lu Jianzhen was very puzzled. My son is so good. Isn't it a thing to be proud of when a woman is admired by a good man? She has the romance of an artist by nature, and doesn't think there is anything to be avoided in this natural attraction between men and women. Lu Qingyuan was helpless, but Jinli is in the Huaguo entertainment circle. She was hacked so badly in the past, but now it's finally getting better. Just a little scandal may make her attacked by sunspots. Lu Jianzhen felt a headache when he heard this topic. She was Father Lu's first wife, the only one born to his wife who was in love with each other, and the first child. Even the grumpy Father Lu would still feel the pain of taking this daughter seriously. Even if there are 3 more half-brothers in the future, because she showed her talent and interest in art early, and made it clear that she has no interest in the Lu family, the 3 of them have no conflict of interest with this sister, and it is rare to keep it. A bit of wealthy sincerity. Lu Jianzhen has a good family background. He has never worried about money or any secular affairs in his life. He has developed a free and easy romantic character, and has the beauty and talent that is favored by God. Even emotionally, she has never hit a wall, and every lover of hers is deeply fascinated by her. It's just that she is destined to be a wind that won't stop for anyone, and she doesn't want to let her family bind her, so she chooses to be single all the time. It is really difficult for such a woman to understand the dirty intrigue in these circles. Okay, Lu Jianzhen waved his hands with a headache, I can't tell you anyway. Lu Qingyuan reached out and brushed the curly hair that had been naughty on her cheeks behind her ears for her, and then said softly, also, Mom, I have no love for Jinli. Lu Jianzhen looked at him suspiciously, really? But I haven't heard of it yet. Which girl have you been so fond of? She said puzzled. Lu Qingyuan looked at his mother softly, and after a while he laughed softly, probably because, When I first saw her, I remembered someone I knew very well. He remembered that day, under the sun, on the beach, the smiling girl with the boundless blue sea behind him. Her eyes are so clear and agile that she doesn't look like the rumored black actress at all. And such a clear and straightforward, almost innocent gaze, he had only seen it on one person. His mother. A woman who is innocent and romantic but gives him infinite warmth and love. When Lu Qingyuan saw Jin Li, he even wondered if his mother was like this when she was young. Lu Jianzhen didn't know what her precious son was thinking. She didn't think his son would lie to her. Listening to his words, she really didn't like Jin Li. For this, she felt a little pity. Oh, what a lovely little girl, I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. I thought that if you liked it, it would be good to be a daughter-in-law. She thought happily in her heart, if such a beautiful and aura girl became her daughter-in-law, wouldn't it be much more convenient for herself to want her to be a model from now on? How well does Lu Qingyuan know his mother? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 227. It can be said that as soon as Lu Jianzhen raised his eyebrows, he could know what the other party was thinking. Realizing his mother's thoughts, he was helpless and funny. Mom, let me tell you, my uncle likes Jin Li, so don't worry about me. Lu Jianzhen glared at him. How can a younger sister-in-law and a daughter-in-law be the same? As she talked, she remembered what Lu Qingyuan said just now, because she invited her to be a model, and was misunderstood and rumored. Lu Qingyuan thought for a while and said, I'd better wait until you have a chance to formally meet in the future, and then inform the outside world when you are sure that you will cooperate. Lu Jianzhen nodded, all right. Thinking of that scene, she couldn't help showing a hint of anticipation in her eyes. Seeing this, Lu Qingyuan smiled and said, if Jin Li sees you, she will like you very much, mother. When Lu Jianzhen heard this, he smiled happily, really? Lu Qingyuan nodded, really, just like when you saw her picture, you fell in love with her. He thought, maybe there is some special feeling between these pure-minded people? The car soon arrived at Lu's house. Hearing that Lu Jianzhen would go home, the second and third of the Lu family, who usually have their own houses in the imperial capital, came back, and it was rare for the family to be neat. When the butler came out to greet the two of them, there was an obvious sigh of relief on his face. Lu Qingyuan then understood, uncle is in a really bad mood this time. Of course Lu Jianzhen also saw it. She doesn't really understand those complicated intrigues, because she is too lazy to understand, and she has the confidence to not need to understand them. But that doesn't mean she's stupid, and she doesn't even know how to judge. Hello Uncle Lin, long time no see. Lu Jianzhen greeted the housekeeper with a smile. The old butler, who was over 60 years old, also showed a loving smile when he saw Lu Jianzhen. Mrs. Back, come in quickly. Lu Jianzhen was the most popular person in the entire Lu house. Even the servants especially like this gentle and beautiful young lady, although she has not come home for many years. Lu Jianzhen and Lu Qingyuan entered the hall together. The four masters of the Lu family were sitting in the living room, clearly distinguishing. Mr. Lu sat on the main seat. Lu Zhenjie sat alone on the left. The second child, Lu Lingxiao, and the third child, Lu Lingyun, were sitting on the right. The lineup can be said to be very clear. The atmosphere was a little dignified, and no one spoke. But all this was broken after Lu Jianzhen entered the door. Old man Lu's serious face showed a relaxed smile. I'm really back. Sit down, what do you want to eat? Sister Lin, bring a cup of mangosteen juice to the eldest lady. It's really Lu Jianzhen's nickname, mangosteen is her favorite fruit. Grandpa Lu remembered it all. As for the others. Grandson. That doesn't exist. 3 sons. Also does not exist. Fortunately, the other 4 men in this room have long been accustomed to this pattern, and their expressions have not changed at all. Lu Jianzhen pulled Lu Qingyuan to sit down and greeted his father and several younger brothers with a smile. She has a good personality since she was a child, and has always had a good relationship with several half-brothers. Not to mention the second child and third child of Mr. Lu's second wife, even Lu Zhenjia's expression softened a little when facing her. To give Lu Jianzhen face, the family had a rare meal without quarreling. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 228. Lu Lingxiao and Lu Lingyun made an excuse to leave after eating. Although Mr. Lu retired at home, the news is not blocked, and he obviously knows something's happening on the internet. He glared at Lu Zhenjia. Your sister just came back, don't bother her with trivial matters. Lu Zhenjia stared back. I didn't want to bother her, I found her son. Old man Lu. Lu Qingyuan. Only Lu Jianzhen was very calm. If you are looking for my son, you are looking for me. If you have anything, go to the study. Mr. Lu snorted coldly, deliberately showing his presence, and frantically hinting at his desire to listen to a corner. However, at this moment, Lu Zhenjia chose to block his hints. Dad, you are old, don't worry about these trivial things. Uncle Lin, you and Dad go out for a walk and eat. Old man Lu. He was so angry that he beat the ground with his cane. Unfilial son. Lu Zhenjia chuckled, the son is not filial to the father and the father is not kind, so don't dislike anyone. In the end, Mr. Lu was angry with this unfilial son. He was still swearing when he left. Lu Jianzhen. She covered her forehead with a headache. You father and son, why do you want to be like this? I haven't seen you two talk well. Lu Zhenjia looked indifferent. Eldest sister, what's the situation between us? You know, it's not interesting to talk about. Lu Jianzhen opened his mouth and felt that he really had nothing to say. Growing up with her father in the palm of her hand, she had never been wronged or treated coldly, and she really had no position to comfort the youngest brother. But Lu Zhenjia doesn't need comfort. He is strong enough now, and the past that he once felt uncomfortable and aggrieved, now for him, it is just the dust that has not been swept away in the depths of his memory. It looked unsightly, but it didn't affect him half a point. And, there are clearly more important things to do now. He looked coldly at his nephew who was standing beside his elder sister Yushulinfen. Now let's get down to business. Lu Qingyuan looked up at him. What is the serious business that uncle said? Lu Zhenjia didn't deter at all, and went straight in. You, stay away from Jinli. Lu Qingyuan looked him in the eye. Why? Why? I like her, Lu Zhenjia said word by word. Lu Qingyuan didn't dodge and asked softly, what if Jinli doesn't like you? What if she likes someone else? Lu Zhenjia snorted, she doesn't like me, I can wait. As for liking other people, he said proudly, it won't be possible. He stared at his nephew. You are the son of the eldest sister, so I am willing to tell you this. Lu Qingyuan, I advise you not to have any unreasonable thoughts. Lu Qingyuan laughed angrily. Why did he think that his uncle is a rare and heroic figure with outstanding talent and deep scheming? He even adored him. But listen now, what kind of Chinese second words did he say? What kind of domineering President TV do you think you are playing? You are so powerful, why don't you contract an entertainment industry for Jinli to play? Lu Qingyuan used to think that his uncle was single because he had a high vision and focused on his career, so he didn't have time to think about personal issues. Now he feels that personal reasons probably account for a larger proportion. It really deserves it. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 229. Lu Qingyuan chose silence. mainly because he didn't know what to say in the face of this strange and somewhat abnormal uncle. But Lu Jianzhen was different. She was obviously very surprised by her younger brother's change. "Zhenjie, why do you say such a thing? Lu Zhenjie still respects this elder sister, what's the matter?" Lu Jianzhen sat down and asked Lu Zhenjie to sit down too. In addition to being surprised, her expression also had a hint of complexity. "I believe now that you really like that little girl named Jinli. Likes to swear sovereignty to other males like an ignorant boy." Lu Zhenjie snorted softly. He didn't want to hide this from anyone. Lu Jianzhen looked a little embarrassed, "But it's hard to catch girls like you." "Lu Zhenjie." He frowned tightly and looked at his own elder sister. "What do you mean?" Lu Jianzhen first excused his son. "I asked Qing Yuan when I was on the road just now. He has no love for Jinli." "Little seer, you can take away your hostility." Lu Zhenjie frowned. "Don't call that name. The name Sier is a black history that every domineering president is absolutely unwilling to admit. Lu Zhenjie has been in charge of the Lu family for several years, and he has accumulated an aura formed by the long-term superior. Once his face sinks, the pressure of the people around him will suddenly increase." But Lu Jianzhen was not afraid of this aura. She looked at her best brother, with an old mother's worry in her eyes. "Only ignorant girls like that kind of adolescent boys who are outrageously possessive regardless of their own needs. A mature woman, I'd rather give myself to a man who is gentle enough, mature enough, and trustworthy." Lu Zhenjie's eyes widened unconsciously, looking at her. Seeing this, Lu Jianzhen sighed again. "If you can be as shrewd and steady as you are in the shopping mall, how can you be single until now?" This time, Lu Zhenjie found something to refute. He said with certainty, "Then he will still be single, and others are not Jinli. Even if he wakes up early, what's the use of not seeing the woman who made his heart beat?" Lu Jianzhen looked at him in surprise, and after a while he clapped his hands and laughed out loud. "I didn't expect that our Lu family could actually produce a seed of infatuation." From Lu Zhenjie's grandfather, to his father, to her Lu Jianzhen himself and his two older brothers, it can be called a rich love history. Of course, the Lu family also has this capital romance. Lu Jianzhen knew that Lu Zhenjie announced on the internet that Jinli was his idol. Although she felt that this behavior was not so smart, it was not hopeless. It was a rare trip back, and Lu Jianzhen decided to teach this poor little brother a few tricks on how to chase girls. It's not that she is biased. In terms of conditional ability, she has never met a man better than her younger brother. If such a man is willing to spend his time and use the right method, what kind of woman can be unmoved? Of course, before that, Lu Jianzhen felt that he had to find out where the two of them had progressed so far. This is bound to talk about some of the more private topics. Lu Qingyuan consciously went back to his room to rest. Lu Zhenjie thought for a while and asked, "Where do you start?" Lu Jianzhen smiled. "It's better to start from scratch." Lu Zhenjie then began to speak. A minute later, the smile on Lu Jianzhen's face gradually disappeared. Update completed. The weekend is hot, the big baby who reads the text squeaks, and the big baby who raises the text is also slaughtered. Continue to work hard to get recommended tickets. Good night. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiao Zheji. Chapter 230. With a blank face, she listened to Lu Zhenjie talking about his first meeting with Jinli. "So, when you met for the first time, you took an aphrodisiac and almost forced her?" Lu Jianzhen asked. Lu Zhenjie recalled and corrected, "It's not just me, she was not normal at the time, and she should have been drugged as well." Lu Jianzhen twitched the corners of his mouth. "This is really a unique encounter. Then you were knocked out?" Lu Zhenjie touched the back of his head subconsciously. Lu Jianzhen continued to be expressionless. Then, the second time we met, you proposed to take care of others. Lu Zhenjie put on the same expression and said, I didn't know I liked her at that time. Hearing this, Lu Jianzhen took a deep look at the younger brother and sighed, for the first time today, I don't want to believe that my younger brother can be so stupid. Lu Zhenjie. Lu Jianzhen continued to insert his knife. If I were Jin Li, I would think that most of you are sick, and I would never want to talk to you again. Lu Zhenjie. Lu Jianzhen leaned back and lay on the chair. Go ahead, I still think it's incredible that the two of you can still be good friends. Lu Zhenjie continued to speak. After Lu Jianzhen finished drinking a cup of mangosteen juice, he finally finished listening to the progress of the relationship between the two. Lu Jianzhen, is there such a thing? She sharply grasped the point. How many times have you been rejected? Lu Zhenjie pursed his lips and said nothing. Lu Jianzhen lowered her head and couldn't see her expression, but with a shake of her shoulders, anyone could see that she was holding back a smile. Lu Zhenjie. He was a little annoyed. If you want to laugh, just laugh, I don't care. Lu Jianzhen, ha 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 ha. Lu Zhenjie. You are so funny. He looked at his own sister blankly, and his body was swooning with cold air. Lu Jianzhen laughed enough, and then he regained his serious face. Looking at Lu Zhenjie, he asked very curiously, so now, where did you get the confidence that you and Jin Li can do it? Lu Zhenjie. He glared at her a little irritably, you stayed to help me, not to pour cold water. Lu Jianzhen laughed again, seeing that Lu Zhenjie's face was even more ugly, and then he comforted the other party, okay, I'm here to help you. Lu Jianzhen asked, you said that Jin Li likes food. Lu Zhenjie nodded, I used this to make an appointment with her several times. Lu Jianzhen glanced at him approvingly, yes, it's not too stupid to be saved. Lu Jianzhen asked, what else? What else does she like? Lu Zhenjie said without thinking, she likes to be praised by others. Especially her beauty. Lu Jianzhen stared at the younger brother. He probably didn't even notice it himself, but when he said this, his expression subconsciously softened. Even the pair of eyes that usually look dark and deep, even with a trace of hostility, were rarely calm and calm. Lu Jianzhen thought that the younger brother might like the girl in his heart more than he thought. Anything else? Lu Jianzhen continued to ask. Lu Zhenjie is not very sure now. But he still said it, she seems to have some face control. This Jin pair is not particularly shown. But she usually seems to have some signs, her good friends are all good-looking men and women, and she seems to have more patience when facing good-looking people. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Su Xiao Zhaji. Chapter 231. Lu Jianzhen's eyes lit up when he heard the words, and he immediately said, then what nonsense are you talking about? She looked at her younger brother's face with admiration. For a face control, what else can be more attractive than your face? Lu Jianzhen taught him, from today, you have to know how to perfectly show your charm, you know. Lu Zhenjie disagreed a little, I'm not a person who eats by face. He, Lu Zhenjie, has a family background, ability and means. But Lu Jianzhen stabbed him in the heart mercilessly, but you need to chase your wife by your face. Lu Zhenjie shut up. He was still a little unconvinced in his heart. Lu Jianzhen then said to him, I made an appointment with your sweetheart to meet on the weekend. After meeting the person, I will help you formulate a pursuit plan. Lu Zhenjie suddenly asked vigilantly, what are you doing when you see Jin Li? He hasn't forgotten that the one that the media hyped up, see the parents' reports. Lu Jianzhen. She glared at Lu Zhenjie angrily, stinky boy. I'm all about helping you, and you're still protecting me. Lu Zhenjie is righteous, who made your son keep spreading all kinds of false scandals with Jin Li? Lu Jianzhen suddenly understood his son's heartbreak. She looked at her little brother worriedly, he is obviously a good young talent, how can he become mentally retarded when he encounters feelings? I invited Jinli to be my model. Lu Jianzhen rolled her eyes at Lu Zhenjia and said in a disgusting tone, if you want me to say that at the critical moment, my son is reliable, and my Qingyuan baby helped me make an appointment without saying a word. Look at you again, you shrewd man, and hang up my phone. The result of this conversation ended when Lu Jianzhen made Lu Zhenjia speechless. The weekend that she and Jinli had made an appointment with also came soon. Lu Jianzhen's meeting place was his home, a quiet and leisurely manor on the outskirts of the imperial capital. Several siblings of the Lu family have their own separate properties in various parts of the imperial capital. In the old house, Mr. Lu lived alone. The reason why Lu Jianzhen didn't like to live in the old house was that he disliked the boring style there. This manor was decorated by Lu Jianzhen herself, and she personally selected every flower in the garden. She personally waited for Jinli at the gate of the manor. As soon as Jinli got out of the car, she recognized it. Not to mention, Lu Jianzhen has seen pictures of Jinli. Even if you haven't seen it before, some people, you can tell it's her at a glance. Seeing Jinli himself, Lu Jianzhen finally understood why that little brother who had always been affectionate was actually tempted. She is much prettier than she looks in the photo. There is some beauty that no amount of refined pictures can show. In this world, why would there be someone who has such a perfect beauty and such a lively temperament? She greeted her with a smile. Jinli also noticed the lady. She was wearing a loose and casual cotton and linen dress that reached her ankles, with a pair of clogs under her feet, revealing her bright white toes and those with bright kodan. She has a very contradictory temperament, both lazy and casual, but also gorgeous and delicate, but this contradiction does not make people feel inconsistent, but interweaves a different charming charm. Welcome, sweetheart. Lu Jianzhen didn't hide his love for Jinli at all, he gave Jinli a hug very enthusiastically, and even gave her a close kiss. Jinli's eyes widened. Since she came into this world, no one has ever done such an intimate act with her.